While I'm waiting for parts to dry on my grandfather clock, I thought I'd check out this Anno 1640 Foliot clock my friend sent me. I'm on eBay. It takes a certain kind of rope. I don't know if I have that rope. I'm trying to figure out the routing of the rope, but there's this wire or string right here, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But this clock here takes 3 weights, and I think that this clock is missing some pieces, and I will talk about that in a second also. You can find all kinds of YouTube videos on it, but these weights up here is what speeds up or slows down the clock. And as you can see, there's a string. Imagine you can use a wire. I'm hoping they show the weights. They have rocks for weights, and they have a 2-weight system on this clock, which probably is the same thing for the clock that I have that he sent me. Now this is the clock. At first I thought that it was missing a dowel that had a hole in it, because that hole was too big. But after I studied it, if I can get it to go back down, there's a hole in the shaft, and this shaft comes up to the hole right here, and you have to tie it in a way. There's the escapement section right here. You have to tie it in a way that it is going to catch these pins. So you'd want it in the middle of those pins. So about right here. So my friend that sent it to me said you can use thread or fishing line. And so I'm going to get out some fishing line and tie this, and I'll get back to you. Now, as you can see, I added some fishing line, and when I put pressure on the wheels, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Now, let me turn my camera back around. Now you should be able to see there's a piece of metal right here that catches the pins, and there's a piece of metal right here that catches the pins. Okay, now one is the entrance pallet and the other is the escapement pallet. So when you put pressure on the wheels, it enters and escapes those pins. Now these notches right here is for weights. There's a set of notches here, and there's a set of notches here. And you determine what weights you want to use, and then I imagine the further in you go, the faster the clock goes. The further out you go, the slower the clock goes. And a lot of these, because they were antique clocks, they used rocks for the weights here and for the main weights that go into the rope. Now, I've been told that they're not very accurate timepieces. This is a one-hand system. but I don't know. I never owned one. My friend had this one and another one, and he sent me this clock. It's all wooden except for the pins and the pivots. There is some metal on here. The pallets in this rod right here is metal, of course. And then there's a spring right here for the click. It's a wooden click. As you can see, it's got the spring. It's really cool clock. And I didn't own one, and my friend Eugene Dorr sent me one. I sent him a movement, a wooden plate. We both like wooden plate, wooden gear movements. And I sent him a movement for a grandfather clock that I've got way too many other projects. And he was kind enough to send this Anno 1690 Foliot, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, clock. Again, I need to get a rope and some weights, and there is no pins on this thing to catch the rope. This grandfather clock rope would probably work perfect for it, but I'm gonna see if I can find some rope and maybe tie some rocks. Well, first of all, I need to get some rope and do the bucket test, and then you're gonna have one rope for the main weight, and then the other end of the rope is going to have a small counterweight on it, just to keep the string from tangling up. And it's a really cool clock. And like I said, I have to come up with some weights, and I'm probably going to use rocks for the speed adjustment. There are also 4 pins right here. That way the hand turns. This hand is stuck on this wheel right here by this pin, but there are pins right here to turn the single hand. Now, the single hand, back in the olden days, there was only a single hand on clocks, and so like right now it's 3 o'clock, but if it was in a different position, like right here it'd be 2:30, right here like 2:15, 2:45, stuff like that. But it's almost 3 o'clock. It's probably more like 2:55, because the very point of this pointer is not in the middle of the 3. There are pins right here to take this thing apart, wooden pins, and again, it's a very simple clock. And I'm trying to test a rope system, and so my part won't go in the way it's made, so stand by and let me finish. Here I have a bungee cord. Yeah, I know, but I think it's the same diameter as the rope I need. And when I add a little bit more pressure to the bungee cord, it ticks away. Now, if it wasn't a bungee cord, I personally think any round cable would work that is that diameter. But because it's a bungee cord, you know, it's sitting there stretching. But when I pull on the bungee cord, it ticks away. So I'm going to have to get the proper rope, and I probably got some around here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's at. And like I said, I'm going to use rocks for the weights, for the main weight and for the counterweight. And I'm going to use small rocks for these weights up here. So this is going to be, I know it's a short video compared to the videos I normally do, but this is just going to be part one of this video, and hopefully next few days I'll be able to finish it up, but I have to get the proper rope, and that's why I had to take this thing apart, because the bungee cord hooks wouldn't fit through the great wheel and the second wheel. This is a one-day clock, I'm sure, 30-hour clock, because there's only 3 wheels: great wheel, second wheel, third wheel, which is the escapement wheel. And so I don't think there's any videos out there on repairing these clocks. I'm not for sure on the age of this clock. I'm sure it's not too old of a clock. It's not an antique, but it's a really cool clock. I really appreciate my friend sending it to me. And I don't think they're that accurate of a clock. However, this, compared to looking at the sun, there's a lot of places that doesn't have the sun all the time, where it rains a lot, clouds, you know, you didn't know what time it was. This right here was more accurate than not having a sun to read your sundial. When I was stationed over in England, there was a lot of times the sun wasn't out. And so this is more accurate than guessing, put it that way. Anyway, I hope y'all liked part one of this video, and please leave me some comments, hit that subscribe button. I might have to loosen my fishing string up a little bit. I want to make sure that this wood is not touching that piece of metal right here. I want to make sure this wood is not touching this metal right here, which it ain't at the moment. Really cool clock. Really simple clock. I'm sure a person can 3D print one of these things. For those people who have a 3D printer and know what the heck they're doing, or if you know what you're doing on a lathe and a wood tools. Very simple clock. Really cool clock, if you ask me. Anyway, it's what's called, again, a Foliot clock. Foliot. Foliot clock. As what they say in this eBay listing here. And I haven't searched the that many videos on YouTube. to see if there's any videos on repairing these things. There's a Swiss-made one, but maybe in part 2 I will have my stuff together and have more information for you. There are a few YouTube videos, but again, virgin Foliot is what that person is calling it. But I just got this thing in today, and I needed to take a break away from that grandfather clock. And so I hope you enjoyed part 1. Give me a thumbs up. May God bless each and every one of you. Also, in part 2 of this video, I'm probably going to take the clock all the way apart and put it back together just so y'all can see how it's put together. And by the way, LC Master's catching up with you.